In this modern world's pursuit of happiness, are we becoming more gay? I'm Mark David, and this is PowerPoints from the Open Bible. What ought to be the Christian response to these modern day developments? 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13 to 14 says, "Be alert, be firm in the Christian faith, be courageous and strong, do everything with love." Be alert, courageous, and strong. There's a definite need for courageous alertness as we draw attention to some dangerous movements in our modern world which are threatening our time-honored value systems and redefining family, sexuality, and human rights. Matthew chapter 13 verse 25 says, "But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way." We cannot afford to sleep while those who are opposed to our faith sow seeds in the hearts and minds of our leaders and children. When these tares begin to grow among the wheat, we will not be able to discern the difference until they have borne fruit. We need to arise. We cannot be like ostriches, burying our heads in the sand and at the same time exposing the greater part of our anatomy to the whims and fancies of the windstorm of change which is engulfing the world. What is our society going to look like when parents no longer are able or no longer have the primary responsibility for shaping the moral and spiritual values of their children? What is our society going to look like when our young 3-year-old grandchildren are left to determine their own sexual identity or gender? When a 12-year-old girl who doesn't even have the right to vote can decide to terminate a pregnancy without the knowledge of her parents? What is our society going to look like when comprehensive sex education in schools are going to teach 10-year-olds about sexuality with full acceptance of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender concepts of gender as holistic alternative lifestyles? What is our society going to look like when Bible-believing ministers could be exposed to litigation or even be found guilty of committing criminal offenses of discrimination if they refuse to perform a marriage for same-sex couples? What is our society going to look like when human rights are determined by individual preferences rather than the fact of our humanity? Some may say, what's the point? It's already prophesied. Luke 17, 26 to 30 says, "As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed." Let us not forget that Lot and his family were saved because of Abraham's spiritual vigilance. Are we just going to twiddle our thumbs while Rome burns, or are we going to earnestly contend the faith? We cannot keep silent. If Queen Esther did, her nation would have suffered in accordance with the pernicious plot of Haman and probably be obliterated. She risked her own life to speak up and ended saving her nation. What would have happened to her people if she buried her head in the sand and let the enemies of her people have their way and call it fate? What are we going to do to save our country, our children, our future, even our freedoms against this creeping dogma being imposed on our world? The king needed to hear the Jews' side of the story to make a wise and balanced decision. Thank God Esther had the ear of the king, and she used her voice when it mattered most. Our leaders also need to hear our voices so that they too could make wise and balanced decisions. The church needs to be alert. Let our voices be heard. Those of us who can write should flood the opinion pages of the newspaper with articles. Those in the arts and media should flood the airwaves with the sound of our voices. We can also use the internet to spread our message, Facebook, YouTube, and other means. Then there is the more direct approach to communicate with our parliamentary representatives and lawmakers. Let the king hear our side of the story. They have long been using the performing arts and media to reshape society's thinking. Now they are ready to influence legislature to institutionalize these new norms in our world. We too have human rights, which we must now exercise before they are lost forever. If these societal changes are allowed to be institutionalized, no one in the near future is going to be bold enough to revisit it. If the battle is to be won, it is to be fought now. Fellow Christians, let's be alert, courageous, and strong. I'm Mark David, and this has been PowerPoints from the Open Bible.